This is the Geoje flood and landslide disaster, Geoje Island, South Gyeongsang Province, South Korea, August 2026. And by the time you finish watching this video, you'll understand why meteorologists are calling it a once in 200 years event. Here's what happened in one weekend. An entire summer's worth of rain fell on this island in under 48 hours. By the time the sky finally cleared, the final tally stood at 956.1 millimeters. And at the peak, 124.5 millimeters fell in a single hour. In intensity, Korea's own weather agency says should only happen once every 200 years. A hillside gave way onto an apartment building while people were still asleep inside. One person did not make it out, and what started as about 100 people evacuated on Monday morning had, by Tuesday, become more than 560 people driven from their homes across 3 regions. We're going to walk through exactly what happened, hour by hour, and then we're going to talk about the part of this story that almost nobody outside Korea is talking about, because this isn't the first time. It isn't even the 5th time. And by the end of this video, you'll see why that should worry all of us, not just the people of Geoje. Welcome to natural destruction. 10 days before this disaster, South Gyeongsang Province wasn't worried about too much water. It was worried about too little. The region was in the grip of a real drought. Then, the sky changed its mind, all at once. The rain started building as the 3-day Liberation Day holiday began. The kind of steady rain that at first felt like relief. It wasn't. At 2:10 a.m., Monday, an emergency alert hit every phone in Geoje. Get to safety. Now, 32 minutes later, the city warned that Mundong Reservoir was at high risk of overflowing. 2 minutes after that, they banned all traffic near Goyeon Stream. Somewhere in Okpo-dong, people were still asleep. At 4:42 a.m., a hillside let go. Mud, trees, and rock tore into the ground floor of an apartment building. Firefighters pulled 3 residents out. 2 survived. The 3rd didn't. Nearby, in Tongyong, a 64-year-old woman was buried in her own home by a separate landslide and rescued alive. 1 tragedy, 1 near miss, both in the same hour. By morning, the numbers wouldn't stop climbing. Geoje's daily rainfall hit a record no one alive had ever seen there, the 3rd highest single-day total ever recorded anywhere in Korea, behind only Typhoon Rusa in 2002. 41 schools across the province took on water. 2 of the country's biggest shipyards told their employees to simply stay home, and by Tuesday morning, 2,574 separate reports of damage had piled up from 838 the previous morning. This was a disaster that kept getting bigger every time anyone checked the news. Quick pause. If breakdowns like this are what you come here for, hit subscribe now, because you will not want to miss what we found when we looked at how many times this has happened to Korea in just the last 15 years. Okay, let's get into it. Look at a map of Geoje and you'll understand the disaster before we even explain it. This isn't flat ground. It's a knot of steep granite ridges dropping almost straight into narrow coastal neighborhoods, with a couple 100,000 people squeezed into the gaps between the slopes and the sea. When we researched this, that's the detail that stuck with us. There was almost nowhere for that water to go except down fast, and it didn't go down empty-handed. It took the hillside with it. Lesson: if your home sits below a slope, it's never happened before, is not a safety plan. Ground that's been saturated for days behaves differently than ground that's dry, and it can fail in seconds, not minutes. The rain that devastated Geoje is, technically, the same rain that saved this year's harvest. If that sounds contradictory to you, it should. Climate scientists have a name for this now: hydroclimate whiplash, long dry spells snapping into short, violent wet ones instead of steady, predictable rain. If you feel like you've heard Korea's worst rain on record before, you have. Thousands displaced, a storm. Korea's own weather agency called once in a century. Now, 2026, Geoje, a rainfall total that ranks third all-time in the entire country, behind only a typhoon from 2002. Okpo-dong, the neighborhood where that landslide hit, isn't just a residential area. It's home to Hanwha Ocean, one of the largest shipyards on the planet, and Geoje is anchored by two of Korea's three biggest shipbuilders. On Monday, Hanwha Ocean simply told its workforce not to come in, and Samsung Heavy Industries operations were disrupted too. Though, importantly, neither company confirmed any damage to their docks or the vessels under construction. No catastrophe there. But when a city like this floods, the ripple reaches ship schedules, supply chains, and thousands of livelihoods, even without a single dock going underwater. That's the kind of consequence that never makes the headline, but is very real for the people living it. That's Geoje. One island, one impossible weekend, and a hard reminder of how thin the line can be between a close call and a headline. Our thoughts are with everyone still cleaning mud out of their homes in South Gyeongsang tonight. If this video taught you something, that's genuinely why we make these. Thanks for watching Natural Destruction. We'll see you in the next one.